God. 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 Summer. Quindi dei poco, is happening. Huh? I was so confused. Pum, pum, pum. Doo-doo. Jendi miluje Turka, Jendi miluje Turka. Miluje ho, Jendi, miluje ho. What the? What? Bro. What is happening? Stop the fucking car. Reaper must stuck. He might be. Fuck the shopping.
Meillä menee Jeesus all the way. Kato, mulla on tää rock'n'roll ja se on sielussa aina rock'n'roll ja kaikki on niin rock'n'roll ja rock'n'roll on kaikki. Mä lähdin sivariin, en kelvannut enää mä harmaisiin. Huusin muodosta, hei!
Rock and roll is here to stay.
Sivarista ammattiin, no eihän sitä päässyt kummoisiin. Se mua haitannut ei, sanon jees box ja
Holiday.
mulla on tää rock'n'roll ja soi sielussa aina rock'n'roll ja kaikki on niin rock'n'roll ja rock'n'roll on kaikki. sellaista, mitä ei vois parantaa. 3 sillatreffejä, 2 viivaa raskaustestissä. Mentin silti naimisiin, vaikka appiukko toivottiin. Mulla on tää rock'n'roll soi, sielussa aina rock'n'rollia. Kaikki on niin rock'n'roll ja rock'n'roll on kaikki. Mulla on tää rock'n'roll soi, sielussa aina rock'n'rollia. Kaikki on niin rock'n'roll ja rock'n'roll on kaikki.
Kun taivaalla vielä loistaa kuu, avanta käännän tunnen sen. Sateisen kaupungin valo, näkymättömät varjot ikkunoissa, valokeloihin piirtyy hahmoja, aamuöisellä kotimatkalla, pehmeä punainen blyysi, se mua hellasti syleilee, ikävä ei ole minnekään, koti on toistoni tää.
Kesä oli kuin kuuma lehmän henkäys. Sitä pois pesemään pyörillä poljettiin. Ranta liian pieni ja siinäkin mutta pohja. Vain tehtaan hajua me yhdessä kirottiin. Jan Luokkarimäessä oli häviäjä viimeinen ylhäällä. Ja noista päivistä ei oo kuin rippeet jäljellä, mutta aikuisuuteen jotain parempaa. Niistä ammentaa, niistä ammentaa. Oli laudassa, lohi käärmeellä sininen pohja. Amerikasta asti
I hate just starting up all this thing.
Tenniskentällä kevään ensimmäinen paljas kohta. Yhdessä hypyssä kesä pilattu. Radan varren metsään kaljat piilotettiin. Ja paljain takamuksi junia tervehdittiin. Ennen kaupunkia kypikassi ja mallu aski. Joku lukiolainen se parhaan kimman iski. Ei saa menettää peliä, pitää muistaa tytölle hymyillä. Ja noista päivistä ei oo kuin rippeet jäljellä, mutta aikuisuuteen jotain parempaa. Ja niistä ammentaan, niistä ammentaan. Pysäkillä joku oli mua vahvempi. Se on helppoa, jos on mukana kaveri. Metsän läpi juosten oksat piiskas naamaan. Mutta enemmän sattutti olla pelkuri. Ja kun vähän kasvettiin, väki takaisin korkone maksettiin. Ja noista päivistä ei oo kuin rippeet jäljellä, mutta aikuisuuteen jotain parempaa. Niistä ammentaan, niistä
Ammentaa. This is gonna be a long fucking trip. Try not to die. Oh god, this is too much speed. Oh no. Водичку. Я mam водичку, водичку. Oh Jesus fuck. Oh no. Do not slide. Sharp turn. Oh no, the bridge of death. He survived.
Meikkos tuoksu hyvältä niin. Paras sänki siihen kosketteli. Sä sanoit mennään yhdessä kuun. Ota
Alright, motherfucker, I'm buying everything.
syksyn myötä kylmä tuuli puhalsi. Kaakosta liekki ja sen sammutti. Ensin luvi satoi teimä meidän paikkaan, koska enkeli. Koska enkeli. Kohti taivaan rantaa laski. Vain aurinko enää meitä sylei. Tunsin kuinka sun huulet tarvii enemmän kuin pystyn antamaan. Hänen nimi oli Pedro. Hän oli tumma kuin etelän lämmin yö. Sun jalat kuului hänelle. Mulle ei ollut enää annettavaa sulle vaan. Syksyn myötä kylmä tuuli puhalsi. Kaakosta liekki ja sen sammutti. Ensin lumi satoi teimä meidän paikkaan, koska enkeli.
Keinosta enkeli.
Syksyn myötä kylmä tuuli puhalsi. Kaakosta liekkiin ja sen sammutti. Ensin lumi satoi teidän meidän paikkaan.
Keinosta enkeli. Keinosta enkeli. Keinosta enkeli. Vittujen vittu. Saatana. Perkele. Go to pussy, please. You dork of a pussy. Go to pussy, please. Entity. Entity.
Kolme lasta ja ruokana vastaan. Kaikki on hyvin vuodestaan. Kun ensi kerran sua suutelin, sydämeni vain onnesta huuteli. Kotiin sut vein ja vein jalat alta. Enempää en olla kiltisti. Pidetään hän
Juhannushet onnen ihan kuka aina olla ihdessä aina.
Pidetään hän
Juhannushet onnea on
täynnä meidän päät.
ennen kuka aina olla ihdessä aina.
Aamulla herään ja katson sua silmiin. Tallentuispa hetki tää filmiin. Paljonko vielä voin sulta pyytää? Paljonko voin sulle
Rakkaassa siitä.
Joskus mietin, onko täs järkeä, kun sitten toit järveltä 2 särkeä. Ne mä sulle pannulla paistan ja illemmalla lempeäs maistan. Pidetään hän
Juhannushet onnen
punainen tupa ja
aina olla ihdessä aina.
Pidetään hän
Juhannushet
onnea on täynnä meidän päät. Punainen tupa ja asuntolaina ollaan
ihdessä
yhdessä
aina.
Pidetään hän juhannushään.
Did I just miss my turn?
Onnea on täynnä meidän päät. Punainen tupa ja asuntolaina ollaan
Ihdessä aina.
Pidetään hän juhannushään. Onnea on täynnä meidän päät. Punainen tupa ja asuntolaina ollaan yhdessä aina.
Juhannushän.
Onnea on täynnä meidän pään. Punainen tupa ja
Kapipina.
Rakkauden haukat meille taivaalla kirkkuun. Mun päästä putoruut lanteet seksiä tihkuun. Seksiä tihkuun. Sanoit mun tohi sydämän pensalla
Kastoisen. Kastoisen.
kerroin rahtaa tervas kantona tuhkas palaa.
Tuhkas palaa.
Sata kipinää.
Sata kipinää.
Rälläkää mun rakkauden sulle suihkua.
Suikua. Oh. Oh, safe.
Joo, kaikki mukaan. Se on laaki ja väärä kun runtataan. Poika sinne pesään kasvamaan. Ja rakkauden maito kermaksi vatkataan. Vatkataan. Sä veit mun tuohi sydämen pensalla kastoisen.
Kastoisen.
Kerroin antaa tervas kantona tukas palaa.
Tuhkas palaa. Sata kipinää.
Rälläkää mun rakkauden sulle suihkua.
Suikua. Oh my fucking god, you have to get rid of these boxes. Kastoisen. Aivan. Täytyy mooda.
Rälläkää mun rakkauden sulle suihkua. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää. Sata kipinää.
Pari maailman ennätystäkin on tullut tehtyä siinä. Sosser.
I'm already getting PTSD and I haven't even started yet.
Yhden sekunnin nopein. Sosser.
Oh no.
Joka viikko treenaa olympiatasolla. Yhden sekunnin nopein. Sosser. Pumpsets, Ike, topless, volleyball.
Oh no.
Ei sitten osaa se joku, vaan sitten hallitsee sen. Ei tarvii olla hyvä, vaan voi olla parempi. Pari maailman ennätystäkin on tullut tehtyä siinä.
Well, and now we're fucked. Why do I have 2 fuel pumps?
Yhden setin joka viikko
Good question. This one looks like garbage.
joka viikko treenaan olympiatasolla.
Throw it away.
Joka viikko treenaan olympiatasolla.
Ah,
Joka viikko treenaan olympiatasolla. Yhden setin 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 joka viikko treenaan olympiatasolla.
this is so fucked.
Tosser.
Carburettora. Carburettora. I think we have a better carburetor than this. Isn't this the same thing? I can't tell. Pretty sure it is. It has to be. Keep it here for now. Classic. I don't even know what type I have. Maybe. What are your physical odds? So the issue with this is I don't actually know what these things are because it's a fucking Finnish. I don't know, all this shit looks important to me. The fuck even is that? Am I even ordering it or is there like not enough space anymore? I can't. Fuck, I can't remove this.
Marietta, minun rakkaani, toisen löysin ja niin lähdin. Marietta, sua rakastan, tuuta takaisin, oon sulle oikea. Marietta, oi Mariettan muu.
How do I remove this?
Marietta, oi puolukkain muu. Marietta, oi sua rakastan. Marietta, oi sua ikävöi. Marietta, oi kaunis Marietta, sua rakastan yli taivaan rajojen. Marietta, kannoit minulle, mutta nyt annoit sen toiselle. Marietta, oi miksini lähdin, omistin sinulle koko maailmani. Marietta, oi Mariettan muu. Marietta, oi puolukkain muu. Marietta, oi sua rakastan. Marietta, oi sua ikävöi. Marietta, oi kaunis Marietta, sua rakastan yli taivaan rajojen. Marietta!
Oh, the mail fucking disappeared. Nice. Alright. Let's take this with me. Fuck, where is my fucking car?
Oh no.
Dancing all night with
Where's the fucking post? Extra etu 4%. Extra etu Arkea juhlanan PSK Marketti. Oh, poste. Right, let's order. Cannot seem to order more. What's my card balance? I guess that's fine, huh? When did I put the money in that? Otto. 1K. I'm so confused. Poste. I guess this is where we get our package after it's done. Woman. That's for making me wait. Yeah, you better leave. Why can't I pick this up? That is not what I was looking for. Motherfucker. How is this even stuck, man? Doesn't even make sense. There's no way I'm fucking stuck forever, right? Move! Holy fucking shit, man. Pussy. Vittujen vittu. Just bossed. Pussy. Come on, one more. Fuck! Satana! You're fucking kidding me! He blackjacks? What? Mia helvete! Vittujen vittu. Vittujen vittu. Green. I'll take it. Get fucked, pussy. Fuck you. Yeah, get mad, bitch. Get fucked. Already closed? The fuck? Oh, it's 4. It's 5 a.m.? What the fuck? I love you. Wonder why. How many can I fucking film, man? This is insane. I think this is the first time in this game I'm actually peeing inside the toilet. Impressive. Why is my car there? What the fuck? Oh no, parking brake, but that explains it. No, 9 it's 7 p.m. apparently. Huh?
Meidän likakaivo ihan täynnä taas. Tules tyhjä.
Fuck you. Where is this motherfucker? Where the fuck is he, man? It's 7 PM. This is when he's supposed to show up. I can open his toilet. I need to skip time, I don't know how. I guess I could just go build the fucking engine. Someone actually uploaded how to build a fucking car. I would actually be a miracle if I make a working fucking car. I never finished my summer car. My car exploded. Can't see the fucking car.
Fuck right on.
Send this. How do I put money in this thing? I don't think I can add the money on the card. I don't think there's an option to do that. Fucking electric company. The home? Motherfucker! There he is. Fuck you, Oak. $80? I'm gonna sell you more. Okay, what if I don't take the money and give you another one? Oh, okay. Huh? Fuck you, Timo. Holy shit, this is not worth. But I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Yo, pussy. Where the fuck are you? Here, have some fucking vinegar in your face, you fucking bitch. Yeah. Oh my god, this thing fucks you in. What is happening?
Alright. My sweater off by accident. Fuck. Yeah, I do have my king glove.
What is happening? I have no idea what's happening. What is this fucking shake, man? Where's the fucking bag? I need to restart the game. I don't know what's happening. Please don't shake. Maybe the shake is me like getting better from the alcoholism, I don't know. Let's try to fix the alcoholism then. Alright, 7 minutes. What do we do for now? Oh, we fix my summer alcoholism.
about as much sense to a person as getting hit by lightning or your father or mother getting cancer. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Chaos.
It's this thing that happens to us, you know, and I think Paul's never explained to me what he felt the metaphor was, but to me, that's what it is.
I watched Magnolia recently, and after losing a parent, it hits completely different.
I think Paul asked his dad shortly before we made that movie, so it was definitely coming from a personal place with him.
Yeah.
The question people always ask me about that movie is like, what's up with the frogs? Why the frogs? It's
Arseny is one of the youngest political prisoners in Russia.
Очень жестоко. За слова, за позицию посадили ребенка.
Arseny Turbin was only 14 when he was arrested.
Свободу политзаключенным.
Этот ролик он снял короткий, выложил его на своем YouTube-канале. После этого он говорит: мама, это было начало моей деятельности, потому что я считал, что молчать мы не должны.
Just for posting on social media, Russia's top intelligence agency, the FSB, paid Arseny a visit.
Они говорят: вот ты ведешь ВК, ты под своим именем, ты не скрываешь, ты в открытую заявляешь о своей позиции против Путина, а вот ты почему так делаешь? На что Арсений ответил: а это моя позиция, вот мое мнение, я так считаю, я же этим, что я разве этим что-то нарушаю?
The FSB arrested Arseny. In June 2024, he was charged with participating in the activities of a terrorist organization and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
Просто очень за него переживаю, очень. Как он это все воспримет?
Let's cook an Earth-like planet from scratch. First, swirl huge amounts of dust and gas around a newborn star. Turn on gravity and let the dust clump together into something called planetesimals. Gently bake it in starlight for a few million years, but be careful with the temperature. If it's too cold, frozen water, dust, and slow gas molecules form gas giants just like Jupiter and Saturn. But don't let it exceed 1000 degrees Celsius either if you want something Earth-like to form. The amount of ingredients matters as well. Taking too much solid material would give you a planet denser than Earth. Asteroids, comets, and even smaller pebbles carry ice from the colder regions of the solar system, so use those to deliver the water to your planet. Next, let your world cool down for a few 100 million years. But not too fast, as timing is everything. Heavy elements like iron and nickel, still liquid, should accumulate in the core before a solid crust forms the outside. Give it a personal touch by adding a few asteroid impacts to your pot. That way your planet can have moons and a tilted axis. Be careful though, even with tiny changes to the recipe, you might end up with rainstorms of molten glass and ice clouds. Let's cook an Earth-like planet from scratch. First, swirl huge amounts of dust and gas around a newborn star. Turn on gravity and let the dust clump together into something called
Are you easily entertained by seeing numbers get higher? Would you like to play the equivalent of that, except all the buttons have been replaced with Chinese symbols? Do you have a burning interest in Chinese martial arts, Taoism, or the pursuit of immortality? Then I invite you to see where my life has spiraled out of control for the past 2 months. Amazing Cultivation Simulator. Keep in mind, I only paid money for this after 50 hours. I've been playing this for so long that all my ads are in Chinese. Amazing Cultivation Simulator is a love letter letter to Chinese wushu novels, essentially Chinese sword fantasy. The word is like a sound because it's meant to sound like a sword swipe. In the novels, cultivation is the cultivation of one's internal qi through practice, martial arts, meditation, whatever. And qi is the vital breath or essence of our living world. According to the same people who stick needles in your back, the end goal of cultivation is of course immortality, and that is what this whole game is about. Essentially, you're going to take a small group of Chinese rice farmers and turn them into demigods. To begin, I need to dispel any notion at all that this is Chinese RimWorld. I do this by comparing them directly. For example, we need a refrigerator. I'm going to build one. We need a refrigerator. I'm going to drop the frozen soul of a demon and reduce the temperature to absolute zero. The room is too cold. We need air conditioning. The room is too cold. Rebuild it out of wood and make the bed out of fire. Now our disciple won't die of frostbite. He'll die of heat stroke. My colonist is crippled, disabled, and completely geriatric, so the cheapest option is to put him down. My disciple is an old, disabled nugget. We have regrown each of his limbs. Also, he's now a 14-year-old boy. We're under attack by bandits. We should get inside to safety. A man just decapitated my best friend from over 10 kilometers away with a flying fedora. Once you get past the obvious comparisons, you'll never mistake this game for anything else. To begin, you'll need to go through the tutorial. It's very quick and gives you a bit of background to the story. Unfortunately, the English voice acting is questionable. Luckily, this is a fantasy game, so the sound of women is optional. In contrast, the music is lovely and the visuals are gorgeous. Completing the tutorial unlocks the actual game, which is clearly and unambiguously labeled Classic, which, upon clicking, will show a huge list of sliders and settings to scare away the casual Guilo. Don't touch anything, just hit confirm. Next, you're gonna get trolled by the Chinese, because the developers think it's really funny that there's an almost certain guarantee that you just rolled a Yao Guai as one of your starting characters. Let me explain, white boy. In this world, you can cultivate as either a human or a Yao Guai, which translates to monster, but really we're referring to demons. Yao Guai, henceforth referred to as yogurts, are animals that have gained sentience and become humanoid. However, their existence is unnatural, and eventually they have to face tribulation from the heavens. It's sort of like God's punishment for being a furry. I wish I knew that before I lost my first waifu to a storm cloud. But because the random character selection randomizes race and 11 out of 12 of those races are different flavors of yogurt, you're very likely to land that. Until you know what you're doing, I don't recommend starting with dairy products. But if you want to speedrun the game, I recommend starting as the fastest animal on land. A turtle. You'll starve to death before you even reach the dinner table. Beyond this point, there's not much advice I can give. You're gonna suffer and you're gonna learn from the experience. So pick your starting perks and get into the game. Everybody recommends True Sun Refining as your starting law because it's got very simple progression. And if you make a mistake, worst case scenario, you'll just die in horrific agony. If you followed the plot, the entirety of a Taiyi sect has been annihilated. You and a handful of others are the only survivors. Why was it destroyed, and by who? Whomst did this? Are questions you'll have to answer if you want to uncover the mystery of a Taiyi sect. But right now, your primary concern is survival. To help, a mysterious cultivator who was tight with your former sect leader drops by for the next 2 weeks. As long as he's alive, you're not gonna die. That is, unless you go to the bottom left of the map, in which case, you will both die. Let's get definitions going. You're running a sect, a school of cultivation. A sect has outer disciples that will happily do all of your mundane, tedious labor for a competitive salary of about $0. They're not slaves, as per se. We don't use that word here. It's more like an internship, which never ends. But through a high-intensity jujitsu program known as Foundation, they can become inner disciples. An inner disciple must choose one of the many supreme laws to follow, through which they cultivate a higher state of being. Their progress, abilities, and potential is largely determined by their character stats and background. Like RimWorld, everyone in this game generates with a random background, such as congenital defect, seashell collector, and effeminate male. The combination of stats will determine their compatibility with a chosen law. You start with just one, but you'll unlock the rest as the game goes on. Also, they don't have to eat. but they still do. It's not uncommon to see a cultivator feasting on ramen, even if there's currently a famine, especially if we're currently having a famine. Also, pro tip, you start with a single forming pill. This can instantly finish your foundation and give you an inner disciple right at the start. After promotion, you can go to the sect tab and hit establish a sect, and most importantly, give it a cool name. Once that happens, you have officially incorporated. The rest of the game opens up. Inner disciples don't work. They cultivate and get stronger. After all, this is Taoist Dragon Ball Z, but after incorporation, you can send them out to explore the world. There's two options, camp and adventure. Adventure sends them out on adventures. They leave and they come back. Camp sends them out to stay, and if you're so inclined, you can physically enter the map and plunder a village. At the start, your map's gonna look like this. Immediately, you're gonna notice something. One, there's barely any locations because you haven't discovered them, and two, if you try to explore the red zones, you're gonna come home in a body bag, because that's not your territory. So whose is it? A great way to find out is to visit them directly and prank them by sneaking inside their school. Once they catch you, they'll give you a proper introduction, break your knees, snap your spine, and gouge your eyes out. The other sects aren't very sociable, but diplomacy is important because if they felt so inclined, they could obliterate us. To even get an audience with them, you have to make an offering. Your offering doesn't matter. Each time they're gonna call you a broke-ass bitch anyway. That's why we wait for a cow to defecate, mark it as the trade area, and
Oňo, můj Wintercar Honzi, oňo 5 streamů. Škrabka tam ještě není implementována. Takže musíš škrabat rukou. V teorii nemusíš škrabat vůbec. Stačí si zapnout topení na zadním okně a poukadla na všechny ostatní okna.
send our gift. Now you can trade. In a world of immortality, money is an abstract concept, so we're working on a purely barter-based economy. However, we still
Jsi hrozný skokan, viď, Honzíku, ty vždycky rozehraješ jednu hru, hraješ jí tak 2 hodiny a pak jdeš na další hru.
have a form of currency, and yes, it's completely edible. Spirit stones are the chocolate coins of this world.
No, já tě jako nehejtím, jenom jako, že to je zajímavé.
You can trade them during break time for Pokemon cards, or consume them directly to restore a small amount of
Jako Lyrik to taky dělá.
diabetes. In this case, they restore a small amount of chi, so they function as both a store of wealth and a means of exchange.
No, já nevím, no, já vždycky radši zůstanu u hry hrozně dlouho. Potřebuji pauzu od streamu teď jeden den. Aha. 44, ještě 4 minuty.
Each sect offers something different for ridiculous amounts of money, and even if you have a stacks to pay for it, we're not selling. That would be like selling weapons to your enemy. And how do we know we can trust you? So you have to butter them up. This is mainly done by asking people across the world whether the leader of a sect prefers cats or dogs, and gifting him the appropriate kind of meat. Let's return to matters back at home. Feng Shui is a Chinese system of thought governing spatial arrangement and orientation in relation to the flow of qi. Have a look. Here's some simple Chinese alchemy that I expect you to memorize by about 200 hours of play. Why do I have to learn this? Because everything in this game is subject to Feng Shui. Everything has an element and they interact with one another. Water nourishes wood. Wood feeds fire. Fire cools to make the earth. Earth produces metal, and metal holds the water, allowing it to repeat the cycle. Okay, that's cool, Seth, but we don't have time for this. Wait, did my guy just die of heart palpitations? Why is the yin-yang symbol on this bedroom red? What the fuck does ominous mean? When in doubt, check the pentagram. Room of wood, bed of earth. Wood defeats earth, making the feng shui of a bedroom ominous. And if you...
Wait, what? How does this work? Hey. That's crazy. Shut the fuck up. Kolik? 48. Okay.
Bed of fuck does ominous mean? When in doubt, check the pentagram. Room of
wood. Bed of earth.
Bed of earth. Wood.
Wood defeats earth.
defeats earth, making the feng shui of a bedroom ominous. And if you sleep in that bedroom, you'll die of a heart attack. Replace the earth bed with a fire bed, and as wood feeds fire, the feng shui will become auspicious, which means good. However, if you sleep in that bedroom, you'll die of heat stroke. That's because fire and water control the temperature. In a more relevant scenario, each of the supreme laws practiced by your cultivators has an element. Feng shui affects the speed and success of their practice. So if you're a metal cultivator, you would avoid fire, as fire melts metal. However, if you told him to meditate in an empty room and fed him laxatives, the speed of his cultivation would increase with the volume of shit he produces, as feces is the element of earth which promotes metal. If you're confused, I sympathize. There is no way you could possibly know that in Feng Shui, the orientation of a room's door is... There is no way you could possibly know that in Feng Shui, the orientation of a room's door is specific to its function. In other words, bedrooms face south, workshops east, and kitchens west. That's why everything in this game has a comment box, so you and your fellow Guilos can share ideas about what the hell is going on. Now, the main focus of this game is cultivation towards immortality, which can be summarized by the following post. You eat a pill, sit on your ass for several years, and once you're done, you go from rank 8 ping pong to rank 2 ching chong, which is still like 100 ranks below the heavenly golden dragon god Emperor Star ancestor. But it's okay, since there are still about 3,000 chapters to go, and all the big dick characters that could kill you with a fart are currently busy. So you can go and wipe out a Ding Dong clan, which obsessively wants you dead because you courted death by destroying the King Kong clan after its young master picked a fight with you over your jade-like beauty childhood friend. Essentially, you're going to perform a bunch of opaque as a esoteric and poorly understood processes to help you reach a higher power level. There's 3 types of cultivation in this game, and I'm going to mispronounce all of them: Xiandao, Shendao, and Physical. Xiandao is most relevant because it makes up 90% of the game. Your process of cultivation is derived from Chinese internal alchemy, where instead of a cauldron, you use your body, and instead of reagents, you use your qi to form a golden core. Think of a philosopher's stone, except backwards. That's what a golden core is. Instead of drinking the elixir of life, we are the elixir of life. Xiandao is unique since you can transcribe your knowledge to a manual. This means a single cultivator can study from every other law and become exponentially more powerful. This can lead to interesting situations where someone might learn skills they really weren't supposed to, such as a male cultivator learning lunar form from the sunflower refining law, and by doing so, reversing his sex. Becoming female in this game results in the loss of your penis, which can be picked up and sold on the open market. You can even make money off this by regrowing your penis, which will, upon realizing that you're not meant to have one, detach immediately. Each time you harvest a crop of penis, you become the dick farmer. But I digress. To reach a higher power level, you have to perform a breakthrough. This is essentially a bottleneck in your training, which you have to overcome or you can't progress. Golden Core, however, is different. It is the single most important breakthrough of your career. Every condition has to be perfect. The season, the weather, the time of day, the mental state of a cultivator, the element of a room, the chi density, and the amount of chi flowing through the cultivator's meridians. Get all those right, and you just might get a better result than I did. I genuinely thought I did pretty good for my first time. Tier 9, I thought to myself, that's a pretty high number. Tier 9 is the lowest tier of Golden Core. It is trash. Literally, swallow a rebirth pill and reincarnate yourself, my man. You fucked up. Early on, your Golden Cores are gonna suck, but with experience comes knowledge, and once you learn how, you'll be making some fat cores on a regular. Then there's Shendao cultivation. Instead of cultivating your chi, you take in the chi of others through worship. Belief is power, and the more people believe in you, the more powerful you become. Once you establish yourself as a divine being with a realm of heaven, you can be the petty god you've always wanted. As a rule, I only answer bad prayers. Drought, bandits, famine, refuse. Don't waste my time. You wish that tomorrow your favorite brothel prostitute hasn't been taken? Granted. You want your boss to step in dog shit? Granted. You want the guy who stole from you to be struck by lightning? My pleasure. You want those annoying neighbors next door to die in horrific agony? Me too. You want someone to celebrate your birthday with you this year? Granted. At some point, I learned to stop worrying and love Shandao. Also, they get the most ridiculous titles. Just imagine that every prayer addressed to you has to be prefaced with, Dear Primordial, True Venerated, Great Pardon, Supreme Virtue, Venerated Holy Emperor. That leaves us with physical cultivation. What is physical cultivation? It's an inner disciple that spent the last 50 days remolding his phallus. Due to the mental state bonus of having a gigantic penis, he is now physically immune to depression. In all seriousness, you take a mortal and you turn him into a Super Saiyan. Every body part, limb, joint, bone, and organ of your body you can remold until you become Goku. And then you give him intense PTSD so he can channel those repressed memories to increase his attack power from 1 million to 7 million and one-shot the entire game. Also, since every yogurt comes from a different animal, they all have unique anatomy that's different to humans, which means for every species of demon you turn to physical cultivation, there's tissue, bones, and organs not found anywhere else. In other words, fuck your opposable thumbs. I got vertebrae fused to my carapace. Sooner or later, your sect is going to be attacked by bandits, demons, or other cultivators. With the exception of physical cultivators, which remove organs with their bare hands, Xiandao and Shandao cultivators fight using artifacts. What is an artifact? Well, anything. A Kleenex tissue, a bowl of ramen, a bag of flour, a bucket of water, a pile of shit, severed male genitalia. As long as you enchant it, you can use it. Preferably, try to enchant an actual weapon. Although, you can't deny it's very demoralizing to see your fellow bandit get decapitated by blue fabric summer shirt. Combat is basically your guys sit around and watch as their artifacts cut everyone to pieces. It's pretty fun to watch, especially larger battles, where the sky is nothing but swords. Of course, no cultivation is complete without embracing traditional Chinese medicine. That's right. Alchemy. Here's a good summary of what alchemy is like. Change the weather. Lose 20 years of your natural lifespan, which may sound bad, until you visit the local Chinese pharmacy and pop a pill which adds 500, another which adds 280, and wash it all down with some mineral water which adds another 99. Now the only thing you have to cure is perpetual baby face, which is a common symptom when you have a lifespan of 3,000. You want something done? Yeah, there's a pill for that. Obesity? No problem. Not obese enough? I gotcha. Would you like to prank a demon? Force feed him a rebirth pill and he'll reincarnate right back into a piece of pork on your dinner plate. The cycle of karma is a fickle mistress. Honestly, if alchemy made any more sense, I'd actually be upset. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna put myself in a coma for 3 days. About 30 days in, you're gonna get a pet. A divine pet. This is different to normal pets, which you adopt into your sect by shooting them with hunting bows, which are somehow blunt and tipped with anesthetic. This may sound very stupid, but on the other hand, Gundo Musashi had bullets that put you to sleep, and that was a masterpiece. Anyway, he starts off as a baby and grows larger with time. He's also a little shit, and you're gonna have to keep an eye on him before he destroys your sect. For example, my friend saw one of his cultivators doing a breakthrough, and he thought to himself, fuck, my man is literally shitting himself. This is one intense breakthrough. Turned out his dog was feeding laxatives to all of his inner disciples. It is your responsibility to teach them right from wrong. Peasants slacking on the job? Yes. Attack outer disciples. Give them some cardio. Drug inner disciples with euphoria pills? Why not? Give them some opium. An injured stranger wants our help? Yes. Attack unknown mortals. Kill them. Whether you raise him to be a functional member of society or a four-legged sociopath is entirely up to you. You can even rename him to something a little more Chinese. If you include the Bamboo Forest DLC, which adds a pair of pandas, there's 5 pets in total. They're incredibly cute and generally amazing. At the beginning, your sect can only hold 12 members. This increases to 24, then 36 as your reputation increases. Reputation?
Oh my god, it happened. I think we're cured. Are we cured, Honzik? We're cured! Let's go! Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah, team, woohoo! Woohoo! se budou otvírat dveře, protože musíš zmáčknout dvakrát, protože jednou je jenom přivřeš a po druhý je zabouchneš. Aspoň u toho malého auta to tak funguje, u nákladáku třeba ne.
Proč přesně ti neřeš? Můžu jenom pít, jo. Je neděle. Teď nevím, jestli je 4 odpoledne nebo 4 ráno. Tak to nastartuju.
Nejdřív otočíš klíček a pak ho držíš, ne? No to můžeš startovat auto, Honzi, ne? Přiveď trošku plynu. Tak musíš to držet dlouho, je to zamrzlý motor, takže se to nenastartuje hned, vole. To jsem nechtěl zmáčknout. Ale teď je půlnoc, 100%. Yes. No úplně fixnutí jsme. No, we just need the fucking mail. Doufám, Honzíku, teda, že mě ten tvůj VVCE nesklame teda, no. Teda, pardon, ne VVCE, a VVS. To je kurva VVCE, proč to tady mám přidaný? VVCE taky od tebe? Tak jdele do Lollipop. Já už nekouřím z medlifeu, protože nejsem malá piče jako ty. A ve VCE seru. To je hodně podobný AVVC, teda pardon, k SDVT jako DVE. Ale budu mít AVVS, no, tomu věřím. A není to lízátko, ale mezizubní kartáček. Žádné kouření, žádný cukr, žádný alkohol, žádné drogy. To je život midlifeku. Bys nepochopil. Nudný život. Pošli litr, ne? Zatočíme. Rozjedem to trošku. Kolik chodí pošta do Finsku? Nebo v Česku asi stačí. To bude asi podobný. Šest ráno? Jak se tam řadí? Ale to si asi uprav podle sebe. Escape, driving control, ne, vehicle controls a můžeš si dát všechny gíry anebo jenom shift up, shift down. Já používám přeřadit nahoru a dolů. Mám to na RF. Jo, ale pozor na R, protože RF je taky gearbox challenge, takže gearbox challenge jsem si změnil na to. To pozor. Kolik je? Tak jestli v 8 mi nepřijde ta pošta, tak už budu fakt nasranej. Aspoň už nejsme alkoholici, no. Tady proč mám zase problém? To je asi jenom špatně napsaný. Nemám žádný problém. Alright. Prosím, ať je tam ta pošta, nebo budu fakt smutný. Nechci být smutný. To ještě není světlo, tak já počkám ještě hodinu. Musím na hodinu. No možná jsme daleko pošli nějakou rychlovku, pošli třeba 200 korun. A jenom dobiju 200 korun, dáme 10 toček za 20 a třeba z toho něco bude nebo ne. To není blbý plán, ne? A pak když to projevím, tak aspoň nebudem nasraný. People sleep. Nepřišla pošta. Píči! Tak ne, no. Tak já nevím, co mám dělat, vole, když ta pošta prostě nepřijde. Píči. Jeď, kurva. Vitu, jen vitu. Oh, ty vole. No, když jsme fakt nechce gamblit, tak si od zagamblíme ve hře, no. Tam zbývá. Oh. Fuck! Fuck. Fuck. Ale nejhorší hra na světě. Jesus Christ. Jo, more, kam jdeš? Jedna, 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 dva, dva, jedna. Jedna, 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 dva, dva, jedna. How do I... Co s tím? No idea. Fuck!
Also increases the power level of invading enemies. Don't let this number get out of control, or you'll experience firsthand what it's like to lose a 50-hour game in 5 seconds, which is a good time to inform you that in this game, you can draw Chinese talismans with your mouse, the accuracy of which determines the blessing. You can even draw on a blank sheet of paper, and it's still gonna work. I know this because somebody drew a swastika, and apparently they can now use the oven 12% faster. So please draw a bunch of invisibility scrolls and wear them when you go on adventures. Your sect will thank you each time they haven't been murdered in your absence. It's not easy to make stacks in this game, which is why we have to trick villagers into filling our ranks. We do this by making small talk, finding out that half of them love nothing more than to ravenously consume shit, and invite them over. Because we're gonna need a lot of manpower for our Chinese sweatshop, as inner disciples cultivate immortality, outer disciples cultivate huge plantations of cotton. We're gonna process that down to fabric, and we're gonna wait, because very soon a merchant is gonna show up. He operates on a sweatshop economy. He's gonna pay you garbage, so you better have a high volume of garbage to sell. Luckily, our emaciated peasants have worked hard this summer, and we just earned 10,000 spirit stones. We're gonna celebrate by losing it instantaneously, because the merchant also sells an invitation to an exclusive event. Read the token, and we're off to the auction house. Have you ever gone to an auction where you can't even see what's being sold, but instead are given a vague description? Hard. Lumpy. A man's hand shoots up. I'll take it for 10,000. Not to be outdone, I raise his offer. I'll take it for 12,000. Another joins in. 13. Another raises. 14. The rest fold because they're poor as fuck. Those who remain keep raising. Eventually, there's only 2 of us. One final raise. 56,000. I won the bid, but I don't have 56,000. But they don't know that. The auction ends. It's time to pay. I can't pay. I am under arrest, but I'm not, because I am a mannequin made of straw. I never went to the auction. I took a clone pill and sent my body double. And that is a good summary of the auction house experience. It's not about what we bid on. It's about why we do it. We do it to flex on the poor. While keeping a low profile is important, you should expand when given the chance. You see, your sect is local, but we can export the culture, the lifestyle, and the religion to the rest of fantasy China. To do this, we establish agencies. Then we set a policy for each region and grow our influence. Depending on the policy, you get random events, which have to be solved using insanity. You get a bunch of buttons, which I assume is what a paranoid schizophrenic's dialogue options look like, and you press whichever one you think is appropriate to the situation. Options include talk, bribe, kill, seduce, or throw a rock at someone and stone them to death. Foreigner scamming the locals, murder him. Another sect is preaching about their faith, pay them 100 spirit stones to fuck off. Is it currently Ramadan in the Great Desert? Start handing out food. Believe me, the longer you do it, the more sense it makes, or the more warped and psychopathic your reasoning becomes. For example, you're building a wonder and some people drop by to ask what you're doing. Wrong answer, debate feng shui. Correct answer, beat them with a club. If you solve stuff correctly, you get a bunch more followers. Followers can dig up natural resources, generate belief that converts into experience, completely skipping the grind of cultivation, and be sacrificed for the greater good. You see, we're gonna need a lot of anguish soul gems, which are formed from a painful death in ominous feng shui. Luckily, with agencies, there's no shortage of fresh and willing mortals with reputation location, you can build a sect gate. This is the front door, where hopeful mortals arrive to prostrate themselves, begging to be recruited. But instead, we're going to build a hell gate, which is the same gate, but in a room with ominous feng shui at a comfortably cool temperature of absolute 0. We're gonna recruit mortals from every city. They will arrive, pray to Hellgate, and freeze to death in horrific agony. And the negative moral consequence of such an action? 0, because they have died through no fault of our own. This is a good time to introduce alignment. Your sect can be good or evil, but preferably we want a balance, so we have good relations with both the virtuous and the demonic. This game exemplifies the Chinese practice of moral relativity.
What are they doing there? What are they, protesters?
If I horrifically mutilate someone's dying body to extract the location of their friends and family, that's slightly evil. But as long as you give them a proper burial, that's a net neutral action, and we have done nothing wrong. Or let's say a curious stranger comes by to ask what you're doing, and then stands there waiting for an answer until he collapses from extreme thirst, at which point I feed him a laxative and watch him shit himself to death. Is it wrong to watch a dying man's ass fertilize my fields? No, not at all. But if I turn a bandit's dead, broken body into a flesh puppet to serve us economically until it rots away, that's considered evil. A bigger question, I guess, is if I get decapitated by a dragon while adventuring, fly back home without a head, and use Yang God possession to transfer my consciousness into the body of another man's wife, would that make me a homosexual? Some questions have no clear answer. Have you ever frozen to death during winter because the wall of your house stood up and walked away? Unfortunately, in this game, that's a frequent occurrence. Without warning, anything on the map can gain sentience. Sentient objects can also randomly enter the map, as I've seen entire pagodas march in and flatten my base. What's the point of them? To grief you. But more seriously, you can turn them into a 14-year-old boy. What is the application of this? Well, you can take a shit, give it sentience, and turn it into a human, who you're going to call Big Chungus, because the guys on Discord data mined the Chinese code and found out that specific set of Latin characters ensures that the sentient spirit will generate with the highest stats possible. Then you're gonna make a literal piece of shit become a demigod and ascend to heaven. And that's what cultivation is all about. By the way, everyone who ever goes to heaven, whether by death or ascension, gets a little epilogue section, so you can follow the shenanigans of former disciples. Here's a sample of the literary gems you might encounter. Ming Wu reincarnated as an ant, but got drowned to death by a mean child who peed on the ant nest. Then he reincarnated into a parrot, but because he learned a lot of profanities and was swearing all day, someone plucked out his feathers and he froze to death. And in his next life as a human, he met a strange acting boy, and believing him to be an immortal in disguise that could teach him cultivation, he took him in as his own. However, as it turned out, the child was actually mentally retarded. Later on, you'll find out combat gets a little more complicated with the introduction of formations. To understand what that is, go to another sect and try stealing. The moment you do so, a gigantic bubble forms in the sky and tears you to pieces. This is called a formation. The leader of it is called the pillar, and everyone around them an auxiliary. It follows the rules of feng shui, so different elements will feed each other as they flow back to the pillar. It might look very Oriental, but honestly, it's just Chinese Lego. What's the point of formations? To deal with a little cave that appears in our base after about 200 days. If you're not ready and you need to suppress it, give it a nice room. This will buy you some time, but whatever you do, don't give it offerings. It's going to break out anyway, but your sacrifices will make it stronger. So we may as well piss it off. Welcome to the official casual filter. The first boss you're going to encounter is the Flood Dragon, and it has a chi of about 10 million. Good luck. Honestly, if you get to this stage, congrats. Now, swallow your pride, go read a bunch of guides, and install some mods. It'll improve your life greatly. I'll attach the ones I use below. There's nothing essential, but when you have to micromanage the mental state of about 18 different cultivators, it does get tiresome. Listen, I've been writing this script for close to a month. There's no way to include everything, and I want my life back. So here's a stream of consciousness before I give an arbitrary score and go live in the woods. Each sect has as a wonder. Yours is no exception. Go to the ruins of a Taiyi sect and bring it back. The mini-universe is a game changer. It's an infinite pocket plane that sucks in material and spits it out. But could there be a deeper, more mysterious function? No, it's just storage. No longer will your peasants have to walk for nourishment, because the best soups of a Wuhan wet market are gonna fly right into their hands. After killing your first flood dragon, which will always, without fail, crash its body into one of my expensive cultivation rooms, the game removes all safety checks. You can now summon the Phoenix, which creates 10 days of extreme drought, during which time your base is gonna burn to the ground, because you forgot to move a single Phoenix feather, which landed in a bedroom and turned the temperature to about twice the melting point of steel. After 10 days of drought, it doesn't stop. It's permanent. The only way to end it is with a rainstorm miracle, which will make your Phoenix very upset. It's stronger than the Flood Dragon, by the way. Also, you can't kill a Phoenix. Each time you do, it's just gonna reincarnate. Maybe I should have mentioned that earlier. Again, good luck. Then there's the Torch Dragon, which is larger than the entire screen and comes in a yin-yang variant respective to the time of day. Each variant is invincible to elements of the same polarity, and even worse, they make him stronger. Also, he's gonna lay a bunch of eggs. You should probably just ignore them. And if you survive all that, there's really one challenge left: genociding every other sect and beating them into submission. Once that's done, you can truly say, I finished the game. Now you can go back and play on the real difficulty. I do, however, have some major complaints. Remember the story? The plot? Weren't we supposed to investigate the mystery of a Taiyi sect and why it was destroyed? Yes, but the process of doing so is so terrible that I'm just gonna save you the pain and tell you instead. You see, every character that's not your own can be interacted with, and we uncover the plot through the talking minigame. Primarily, this is done by adventuring to another sect. You talk to people, you get favor. After a while, you don't get favor. You only get favor from juicy gossip. So you have to talk to another character, learn something about them, go back to the first character, and tell them a secret about the second. But to get the secret from the second, I'll have to talk to 20 other people to have enough gossip and rumors to trade for more gossip and rumors. It's an infinite web of high school bullshit. It's the experience of being a teenage girl, because you can't get the information you need directly. You have to go through the PMS chain of command to learn absolutely anything. Now, here's the big problem. You might see a little question mark on someone next to the mystery tab. These are the people you need to investigate to solve a mystery. Again, you have to ask an entire sorority if they think that person knows something. If you ask them face to face without circumstantial evidence, they'll act dumb and say nothing. And even if you know that they know, they still have to open up to give you that information, which is dependent on their personality. If they're naive, that's the best case scenario, because you don't have to do anything. If they're greedy, you have to bribe them. If they're weak, you have to kill them. If they're tough, you have to gaslight their personal weakness. But if they're withdrawn, unfortunately, you are screwed, because the only way to make a withdrawn person open up is to make your spirit dog act playful in front of them. This requires a fully grown spirit dog, which can take hundreds of days, and each time you do it, he loses intelligence from the retardation of this minigame, which takes 10 to 20 days to recover. About 20 hours in, my eyes bloodshot and attention slipping, I managed to solve the first two mysteries. You do this by finding clues, participants, and motives, and slapping them together. The more you find, the more complete and accurate your solution is. Then, I talked to the next 5 characters, and they were all withdrawn, and I quit the game. I have never seen a story mechanic that's more laborious, difficult, and poorly thought out. But it doesn't end there. It gets better. You can do all of that and still hardlock yourself from completing the game because you didn't pick the right option for a specific event on day 565. Or you waited too long and someone essential to the plot has died of old age. Still, I wasn't entirely sure about the story, so I had to bring in the expert, resident merchant, aficionado of Ben 10 porn, and mentioned on several no-fly listings across Thailand.
Hello, my nigga. I become rap people because I eat watermelon.
Jap. His hard drive died about 5 times while explaining, but here's the gist of it. The Taiyi sect was attacked. By who? By everyone. Both the evil and virtuous sect leaders conspired together to wipe it out. But what could justify such a strange alliance?
Is there a fucking car honking at my car?
multa! Vitu mulkku.
Rikoilla pussi.
Ai, ai, ai.
Vittujen vittu.
Because the old leader of the Tai sect is none other than the demon emperor Fu Picong, who is currently inside your mini universe. If you talk to him, you'll get your answers. You see, cultivation is difficult, but it's also strangely common to see someone go from mortal to demigod in just a few weeks. That's because this world isn't real. Overwhelmed by demons, the elders left the great vastness of a universe to this pocket universe, where cultivation is quick, but the creed of heaven is weakening, and once it fails, this universe will end. They took a shortcut to artificial power, and now they're trying their best to hold on. In the final act, a cutscene plays, and Fu Picong undoes the universe, throwing us back into the great vastness. Everyone is mortal again, but this time, we can do it for real. Finally, a title card drops, coming in 2023. Bugsnax 2. And that's the story of Amazing Cultivation Simulator, so you never have to go through that horrific experience. In conclusion, I give Amazing Cultivation Simulator 10 out of 10 Euphoria pills. I hate it. It's like the Opium Wars, except in this case, the Chinese are winning. If you're interested, you can get a copy on Steam. Also, it's coming to GOG on the 23rd of July. This is made possible thanks to Polish Greed. It's coming to GOG on the 23rd of July. This is made possible thanks to Polish Greed and my growing alliance with a CCP, because I like to bet on the winning team, and right now that's Team China. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one. Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a game which really tests the limits of my ADD medication. A game where you can grow an empire, watch it prosper, only to stub your toe, die from an infection, and watch your empire dissolve because you have no idea how inheritance works. Catch cancer, beat cancer by praying it away. Thanks God. Spend money, invest into your own people. Lose your money, go heavily into debt. Borrow money from the Jews. Consider paying them back. Keep it instead by expelling the Jews from your country. Don't feel bad about it. We've been expelled so often, you really won't hurt our feelings if you do it again. Marry your sister. Divorce your sister because she's too old. Marry her daughter instead. Turn your family tree into a family circle and watch your dynasty burn to the ground as your children collect every chromosome known to man. Of course, I'm talking about the most prolific, complex, and intricate medieval incest simulator on the market today, Crusader Kings 2. Crusader Kings 2 is a game covering nearly 700 years of human history, during which time we treated each other very, very well. Religious tolerance was at an all-time high. Human life was short and painful, and the man amputating your leg could probably also trim your beard. In other words, the good old days. But with modern technology, those good old days can be experienced all over again from the perspective of a single person you pick from the world map, who is then forced to live through your terrible decisions. CK2 falls under the definition of grand strategy, which might lead you to believe it's a strategy game. In truth, grand strategy is neither grand nor strategic. You just paint the map with color crayons and then upload your meme image of a Holy Roman Empire onto Reddit for those sick upvotes. Grand strategy is to strategy what Doom is to the field of literature. Doom is not a very good book. In fact, it's not a book at all. So don't feel intimidated. This game is actually just a very simple Excel spreadsheet with a lot of poor UI scaling. But that's not the point of it. The point is the characters, which behave as uncontrollable agents of chaos that act and react to everything you do, often in the most unpredictable, illogical, and insane way possible. In other words, they act exactly like humans. But what is your objective in Crusader Kings 2? Well, the same objective as every human being. As Oscar Wilde once said, everything in the world is about sex. Except sex. Sex is about power. Power is what you're ultimately trying to gain. And in the medieval world, there are only two ways of reaching that power: war and marriage. Essentially, you're sleeping your way to the top, and in the process, you pray you don't get poisoned, cucked, or inbred before your genes can pass on to the next generation. If you fail to preserve your bloodline, your dynasty ends and the game is over. You can't just pass on your genes, you gotta look after them too. Unless, of course, your seduction skills are so high that every woman in a 100-kilometer radius is already knocked up with your kids. Children aren't exactly the best at staying alive. Your child could be killed during a mass archery incident by some madman armed with an automatic crossbow, or simply smothered by his own pillow, by his own mother, holding the pillow. So, much like stocks and investment, I recommend diversifying your assets. Luckily, the same applies to your potential rivals. One of my favorite things in this game is performing late-term abortions. Now, infanticide is not something I support. It's something I recommend. Remember, if you can't kill your enemies today, you can still destroy them tomorrow. Whether or not your dynasty can survive entropy and uncertainty will depend on how tactfully you can balance the needs and wants of your realm, which is completely impossible. Your vassals always want more land, your wife always wants more jewelry, and your brother always wants more of your wife. Try to satisfy everyone, and you'll end up satisfying no one, which is why the secret to a long reign is disposing of everyone who doesn't like you. After that, you're safe, secure, and absolutely at the mercy of this game's RNG system. Aside from conscious actions, schemes, and intrigue, this game is actually played by hitting the spacebar and letting time flow by. What does time hold in store for you? Surprises. A lot of surprises. And you're gonna hate every single one of them. 99% of the gameplay is based on random events. Some are good, some are bad, and you're completely powerless to stop them. Having a great time? Not anymore. You've got the plague, you've got syphilis, you've got lover's pox from sleeping with your maid. What do? Well, the only thing you can do, put your trust and faith in your doctor and hope for the best. Also, execute your maid for giving you an STI. The doctor manages is to cure your plague. A miracle. But the syphilis? That's gonna be a gift that keeps on giving. Thank your doctor. Then execute him for incompetence. Order a new doctor. He's insane, paranoid, and probably a spy from Imperial China. But you know what? He might just be the guy for the job. It turns out he wasn't the guy for the job, and 2 of your direct heirs are now dead. They found rice grains in their chamber, but no conclusive evidence. Oh well. Anyway, your spy master informs you that your doctor is trying to murder you. You confront him and make him feel very guilty about it. He agrees to stop trying to murder you. More of your children end up dead. Also, while you were battling a lifelong struggle with STIs, your wife was having an affair with your other wife. You've got 2 actually. God bless being a Muslim. Luckily, lesbianism is no risk to your dynasty. Yes, in Crusader Kings 2, having a homosexual wife is probably the best decision you could possibly make. But it doesn't save you, because your doctor just saved you from a life of sexually transmitted disease by killing you with a lethal dose of Chinese herbal remedies. So, try hard as you might, all your efforts will eventually come to ruin. You'll get cucked, and then you die. Quit the game and start again. Ultimately, you're playing Crusader Kings 2 for the journey, not the outcome, and the stories you create in the process are unique to your experience. No game will go quite the same, which is why there's no reason for me to explain mechanics. Instead, let me share some stories. Once, I played as Charlemagne, king of the Franks. After my brother died of entirely natural causes, I was left to think on how I would conquer the rest of Europe. However, RNG interrupted my schemes. Just like that, I woke up one day and I was gay. Most unfortunate. However, fortunately for me, another man of immense power was simultaneously struck with homo lust, the Pope. And so, I seduced the Pope. Pope Stephanus III was an utterly geriatric recluse, but I knew deep down inside his soul, he was just misunderstood. I wrote him a romantic poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. I like penis, and so do you. My words reached him and had their intended effect inside his heart. And soon, I was inside the Pope. The church was oblivious to our forbidden love. They had no idea old Stephanus was aching for more than just back pain. Turns out, it was very advantageous to have the Pope as your lover. Any piece of Catholic land I wanted, he granted. In exchange for French sausage, I received the entire Christian continent. And that's the historically accurate account of how Charlemagne took Europe, by taking the Pope's ass. In another game, I played as the Polish because I enjoy being abused by my enemies and my supposed friends who need more land. How much more land? Well, however much I had. Luckily, the bubonic plague began to ravage Europe. I lost most of my territory from before, so I didn't feel too bad about it. My peasants and their livelihood were now somebody else's problem. Meanwhile, myself and my court went into hiding. The gates were shut, the keys were thrown away, until all of this boils over. However, we had another problem. Food. Or the lack of it. I didn't really think about that. I assumed every kingdom in the Middle Ages just had a Tesco Express around the corner. So we waited. We starved. And then we found an amazing solution. Why not eat the rest of a court? I mean, they're not working anyway, so we did just that. And it was entirely sustainable because I kept repeatedly inviting beautiful women to join my court, to be consumed by the court. I'm not proud of what I did, but I did what I had to, which it turned out was completely unnecessary. Apparently, Poland was not affected by the Black Plague, and I sort of just freaked out and ate a lot of innocent people for absolutely no reason. Look, I'm not very good at this game. Luckily, such horrific events are unlikely in modern times because of modern healthcare and sanitation. However, if a plague did have to start somewhere...
Would you like to say a few... would you like to say a few words about, our mold?
Yes, stop filming it. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, but you know, I'm not the one responsible for you guys leaving organic matter for so long that we have fluffy organic matter.
Well, I was about to get rid of it until you put it on display for the world to see. Now let me...
That would definitely be inside my friend's apartment. For my last game, I decided to break history and play with custom parameters. I designed it so every country was ruled by teenage girls aged 14 and over. It was pure chaos. It was a period of intense suffering. Also, I later found out I forgot to turn off Great Conquerors, so eventually most of a known world was overrun by Genghis Khan and her teenage sorority. Luckily, she mostly left me alone. Unfortunately, even if I got a matrilineal marriage, heir succession laws would mean that any child I produce might try and overthrow me. I was screwed, figuratively. But once again, RNG tossed me a bone. Through intense meditation and satanic rituals, I became immortal. On the other hand, I also became an insane lunatic. And one day, in the style of Caligula, I replaced one of my counselors with a horse. I was infatuated, yet I couldn't marry him. Our legal system was not advanced enough to consider human-horse relations. More importantly, the game didn't let me, so I used an exploit. I made my horse a bishop, and in the process of turning my pony into a priest, he automatically filled an entire kingdom with horses, which somehow could be married. So I married and made love to a horse, producing an entire royal line of children that had no concern for the decadent ways of man. They were pure and majestic. Their only concerns were eating carrots and shitting on the streets. At this point, my queen was like a bakery because she was getting bread. There's many stories to tell, but you get the general idea. Every game you ever play will start with honest, sincere intentions, which will inevitably be corrupted and reduced to the most depraved and malicious acts you could ever conceive. But hey, it's fun. Of course, no game like Crusader Kings 2 is complete without multiplayer and friends, which always ends with everyone sleeping with your wife. This happens so often that I sleep with everyone else's wife, just in case.
Sounds like Seth has fucked every man's wife at the moment, so...
I'm only fucking 3 men's wives.
That's because there's only 3 men available in this fucking country.
Multiplayer is great. Some of the best shenanigans take place in multiplayer, and luckily, only the host has to have the 3 billion DLC packs necessary to make this game playable. The base game, much like a woman in her mid-40s, is a bit barren. You really need the DLC to add some basic features that should have been in the base game. I think CK2 is a wonderful game, but it's also a game published by Paradox, which is why, even though I love it, I can't recommend it, because the whole damn thing costs around anything from $120 to $200. With that same amount of money, you can satisfy your daily caloric intake for 17 to 28 days on nothing but dollar menu cheeseburgers from McDonald's, one of the most basic and essential components to human life. But if you've got the money to spare, go for it. Or just marry someone rich. Most people do it for a visa, you can do it for video games. Alternatively, there are ways to obtain the DLC. Southeast London, hole in the wall. Take the USB stick and don't look back. If you do, run. If you hesitate, I'm not responsible and I don't know you. Good luck. And if you're not fully satisfied, don't worry. There's an entire modding community out there to fix all your issues. And it's not too difficult to mod the game yourself. In my case, I was getting PTSD from all the death sounds, which play each time a family member bites the dust. Which, well, have a listen for yourself. I think you'd agree these are a little bit unnerving, so I replaced every death sound with a bass-boosted sound clip of Lego Yoda. Now this is much more soothing to the ears. I don't even mind when people die now. It sounds great. Final score. I hope you enjoyed reading this essay as much as I enjoyed writing it. After playing this game for so long, I finally figured out its purpose. The primary goal of Crusader Kings 2, and perhaps life itself, isn't about living a good or bad life, it's about living an interesting life, and inevitably, to die an interesting death. So, you can loudly proclaim on your deathbed, "Thank God, I didn't waste it all on a boring life." Once you're dead and buried, you won't just be a footnote in history, you'll be an interesting footnote footnote in history. Take and do whatever you please in this life, because eventually it ends, and life can take anything and everything away from you, except your stories. So, better make them interesting, because we're all heading towards the same destination. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I think it's very interesting. However, I'm always filled with regret and a constant state of what ifs. What if I just spent all that money on cheeseburgers? Would I be happier? I don't know. I guess it would depend on whether the burgers were fresh or just the hot stale garbage they leave for a couple of hours. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
Neittemään ihmistä musta mun salaivaistidais. Kattosin jo rannasta. Alkoi satana uneen, niin ei tarvitse ajatella hengavuosista. En oo kuollut. Olen hädillä.